It's 2000 and something.
This video is actually really terrible.
Hey guys, welcome back to 2000 and something, the worst movie review channel on the internet.
One point you're gonna make somebody go deaf because they're gonna have their headphones set at like 97, ready to start another one of their favorite YouTubers' channels, and then you just either side.
It's a learning lesson. They're gonna learn from it not to have their volume up so high. Well, without further ado, guys, today we are reviewing Prey.
Not the biggest Predator guy in the world, but this movie got me very excited hearing about it. It's one of the greatest like concepts of a movie to just be like, all right, so you know the Predator? It's battling Native Americans. It comes at 1706 or whatever it is.
1719.
1719. That's freaking sick, dude. I heard about this movie like 3 years ago when it was still in like the script phase, and I was like, down for that whenever it comes out. And it finally did. And it feels kind of weird.
Well, that's what I like. So with movies, I don't like movies that are like based to like you know how Back to the Future is like based in 2015?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good idea to base movies within at least the viewers' livable time, like when it's initially coming out.
Right.
Because when that movie came out, my dad was probably about... Oh yeah, my dad was just born around that time. He was like 1 or 2 years old.
Interesting.
So you have to think like whatever, because he's gonna watch that movie some point.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's like, oh yeah, and then he's like, wait, 2015.
We're here.
Yeah, we're past 2015 now. There's no flying cars or hoverboards, and bullying was not that big of a thing. But in 2015, bullying wasn't like physical confrontation like the movie showed. It's more of, I'm gonna bully you on the internet.
Right.
So I think I don't like it when movies are based too close in the future. Like base it in the year 3000.
Yeah.
Like Futurama based their movie in the year 3000.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like a lot of things that they can do in the future that like obviously that won't come true, or at least it's a cartoon, so it's a little bit different.
Right.
But you get the point. Guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Comment down below stuff. Hit that notification bell with your nose so you can stay posted with any future 2000 and something videos. Without further ado, guys, let's jump right into this. Prey was directed by Dan Trachtenberg.
Ooh.
This guy probably butchered his last name, but his first name's Dan. So good job, Dan. You did a good job directing this.
Yeah, good job.
Solid job. And two kind of main characters of this are the Predator and
Naru, I believe is her name. Yep. Let me check. Yeah, Naru.
played by Amber Midthunder and Dane DeLegro.
Interesting. So Dane DeLegro was the guy who played the Predator?
Yeah.
Oh. You don't think about that. I kind of just assumed he was a CGI blob.
No. There's a lot of scenes where, like, you know, when he's like patching himself up.
Right.
Yeah, you could see like it looked like a guy was wearing gloves.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Interesting. I think we should, before we get too far into this, mention Joey has never seen any of the other Predator movies. So he came into this one totally blind, not really knowing how this kind of stuff works. So it'll be kind of interesting, his thoughts on seeing this one first.
Yeah, go ahead and haze me in the comments how I haven't seen another Predator movie. They're rated R. I grew up a Mormon, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we couldn't watch those movies. It's not my fault, 100%. I could have watched it as an adult. Yeah. Did I? No. Did I watch this movie? Yes, I did. Did I enjoy it? Yes, I did.
Got something you're holding back there?
Apparently.
Okay.
Anyway, let's talk about this movie that was pretty darn good for my first Predator movie.
Yeah, what'd you think of Naru?
I think she was a pretty good main character.
Mm-hmm.
She was very smart, resourceful, and I did like her dog too. Her dog was pretty dope.
Okay, so the dog, I saw a lot of articles on the internet about people freaking out about this dog. When's the dog gonna die? They love the dog so much. I saw an article that was like, hey, want to know if the dog dies in this movie? Click this link and we'll tell you so you don't have to freak out the whole time. This is not my favorite movie dog. This is like... I
was thinking like, oh crap! I swear if they kill that dog, I'm gonna be sad. It's like gonna be like her breaking point or something, but no, it's just her brother dying. So people die every single day. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Dog dies. Oh no! The Poochie.
Her axe on a rope is pretty freaking sick.
Yeah, and they're like the dude's like you put a leash on your weapon? And I'm like, don't you see, like, the versatility of this thing?
She throws that axe a million miles an hour every single time. It kerthunks into everything it hits. You're not living past an axe hit from Naru.
No.
You're gone.
She is lethal with that thing.
Absolutely.
And then she's like, the scene where she like takes down like all the like American settlers, or the explorers, whatever
French.
they are. The French. The French. Yeah. She kills the French, and like just all that whole scene like was the action scene. She's just trying to get that axe. I'm like, dude, you're like killing these guys with their own knives. What do you need that axe for?
Right. I thought it was really funny. Every single time she takes any amount of time to take a break, sharpening away. If she's not actively hunting the predator, she's sitting by a campfire sharpening that axe. I think she is a really good main character. Obviously, the main character of the first one is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger, love the guy. Great guy in real life, I think.
Gabriel Iglesias talked about the first time he met him. The thing with Arnold Schwarzenegger is he doesn't know when to stop talking.
Yeah.
Like that's how friendly he is. He'll keep talking. And so he has a guy that's actually hired, so every time he gets tapped on the shoulder, he has to move on. So like that's so like there'll be a line of his fans. He'll like shake this, like, oh, how are you? Oh, you're so strong. Do you work out? Then guy taps him. Next guy, same thing. Oh, how are you? Blah 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 blah, etc.
Right.
So Arnold Schwarzenegger is a really nice guy, like in real life, and he's
awesome.
He's super cool.
So I don't particularly love him in the first one when he's battling the predator at the end. Pretty sick. The rest of it, This Naru is much more relatable. If you're gonna have two conversational scenes, I'd much rather Naru be the main character of that scene. So Joey, how was your first time experiencing the man, the myth, the legend, the creature that is the predator?
I've seen different clips like online of like different Predator movies, and I saw this guy and I'm like, he does not like the tech that he has, like, yeah, it's cool, but compared to like what the future of his species has, it's completely different. But that's actually that there's reasons for that, obviously, because like this is hundreds of years before the actual movies take place. So I thought a lot of his stuff was cool, like his retractable kind of staff spear thing that he can break into two. Like that was super cool and neat. The flaw with like the little laser point, like laser guided like arrow things, like obviously like that's what killed him was his own tech. It wasn't like, you know, Native American tech that they had with like their axes and knives and stuff.
But yeah, I kind of thought that was interesting because like I didn't think about it, but yeah, of course, 300 years for the Predator, they're gonna make some advances. So I
thought it was really cool. I thought he was a pretty cool character as is.
Right.
Like with all like his ability to hunt and like adapt to situations. Like this dude's getting stabbed and like still keep going.
Right.
He got one of his teeth pulled out. He's still going.
Right.
Like he's trying, like that's the thing about the Predator species that I think is pretty cool, is that they keep still going that, and their whole thing with like the Predator species won't attack anything if it isn't like armed or like able to defend itself in some way, because they view it as unhonorable, and that's the whole point of the hunt, is to put everything on the line and use all of what you have. And also there's a lot of movies based around the humans interacting with the species. Why do they keep coming after us? Like, what does that say about us?
Well, that's the reason, is we keep killing them, so they're like, they keep coming back because they want to show that they're like the greatest warriors on the universe. So they keep coming back because we keep winning. That was another thing I thought in this movie, though. In the first Predator movie, they're going through the jungle. The Predator's like obviously in the trees, slowly picking them off, right? And then eventually, they catch him, like they get him, and they all blast their guns. They shoot every bullet they've got, and they nick him one time and shoot like a tiny spurt of blood. This movie, this Predator is just getting wrecked constantly.
Bro, the bear
knocks him on the ground. There's just blood flying everywhere. There's one like little splatter of green blood in the first movie. This one, the movie's covered in the neon.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, I feel like these, like, for a species that's like supposed to be like some bad mother truckers,
Right.
This guy's getting wrecked. They have like sticks and stones. Like, legitimately, that's what they're using.
He got bit by a wolf. That was the one that got me. Is I'm like, the wolf just comes up and like bites him on the thigh, and obviously he kills the wolf later on. But it's like, guy, it's a wolf. You kill these for breakfast.
Bro, maybe he's just like a masochist and he just likes the pain.
Yeah.
Anyway,
his freaking gauntlet that goes. I don't remember that being in any of the movies. I might be completely wrong and just forgetting it, but that thing's sick in this movie.
yeah, and like how like he's holding a guy's throat, just goes
Right.
cuts their head off. So you want to know what something that did bother me about this movie?
Yeah, okay.
How all the Native Americans are speaking English.
So I thought this too. Yeah.
Because it's not that I don't mind that the movie's all in English.
Mhm.
It's just it confused me at first because I thought, did Native Americans, when I first saw it, I'm like, did Native Americans actually speak English when we first came here? No, they didn't. On top of that, they have French people there, like French people, like French explorers.
Right.
Yeah,
they're speaking French.
they're speaking French,
Right.
but then they switch to speaking English too. Well, one of them does. I don't know. I just wouldn't have mind a movie. Like, I'm used to watching anime, so I don't mind subtitles. There are
Right.
some people who hate subtitles.
No, yeah. So that's what I was thinking is, it would just have been a better movie if they were speaking the language that they should have been speaking. But the reason, like, I assume the reason the French people aren't translated is just because the Native American people wouldn't understand them, the Comanche people wouldn't understand them, so it makes sense that way. The thing with this is, though, there is a Comanche dub that they did with all the original like characters. So you can watch it in Comanche. I
think I saw that on Hulu.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I would have watched it in Comanche if I knew that, because it would have. I think it adds to the movie. It would add to the movie.
It adds to the atmosphere, at least.
Right.
To where, like, oh yeah, this feels a little bit more like a timepiece on top of being a Predator movie.
Right. I think that's one of my only. It's not even an issue. It's just an interesting stylistic choice. Is they do some stuff that, like, separates it from reality, and I like. Obviously, the Predator's the Predator, but in the other movies, it kind of feels like the Predator is just an alien, and that's the only unrealistic thing about it. In this movie, a lot of the animals and the CGI and stuff, like the mountain lion, is huge. Mountain lions don't look like that. They're very much all the animals that like the Native Americans are fighting is like.
Beef.
Well,
I understand, like,
the steroids. With,
I know.
like,
Well, I feel
anger
like
issues.
a bear would be that pretty big.
It would be that big, but it wouldn't be that like murderous.
Yeah, I think that's like a bear hears a noise. It doesn't go like, oh, time to investigate and kill something. I
Yeah.
don't think bears do that. At least now they don't. Maybe in 1719 that's what they did. That
Yeah.
they learned to fear people because they have
Super murder.
guns.
But yeah, it's interesting. Some of the CGI in this movie is not incredible.
No,
and
no,
that's
the
one
bear
of the
is
flaws.
one of some of the worst CGI.
The rattlesnake too. Ugh.
Yeah.
But yeah, essentially anything that's CGI in this movie doesn't look incredible unless it's the actual Predator. The Predator ship looks kind of funky. But a lot of the cinematography looks really good. Some of the nature shots and stuff.
Yeah, it was. I think how the lighting they did with like the fire torches. I thought that was actually like a pretty good depicted scene, like them walking down the path with the torches and stuff. I thought that looked really good, and there were like a lot of shots that I did enjoy, and but the CGI with like some of the animals, like even in the dark, the CGI'd mountain lion, I didn't like it. That was like, this looks terrible.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a new segment called The Timeline. How the timeline works is Will and Joey look up the timeline of a certain movie series, i.e. this one.
Ooh.
We pick a year and we tell you what is going on with that timeline, and then we react to the timeline.
The timeline.
The timeline. Will, what is going on with the timeline in the year 2100?
Okay, Joey, the year 2100, nothing happened. But the year 2101, the USCSS Nostromo was constructed, and the United States Colonial Marine Corps was formed. Because this timeline is the same timeline as the Alien movies. Kind of interesting, yeah. So yeah, both those things are alien movies. That's the Marine Corps is being formed from aliens, and then the Nostromo is the ship from the first Alien movie. But yeah,
So it's nothing to do with the Predator, but
it's on the Predator timeline. Yeah, it's 2100.
well, because they're in the same universe. Since
Right.
they interact. They obviously there's the AVP movies.
Right.
So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. So that was kind of lame. Had nothing to do with the Predator, but that was the timeline.
It's kind of interesting though to go from this movie where it's like clearly like 1719 or whatever it was, and they're fighting with like spears and bows and arrows and stuff, and then it's like, hey, here's what happens 500 years later in middle of space, where you get to Ellen Ripley and the aliens.
There's species that's kind of boring, honestly.
Yeah, you're not
I
big
mean,
fan of xenomorphs?
there's like the face huggers, yeah, like, oh no, this alien's jumping on my face and laying eggs in my stomach. Oh no, whatever will I do? Just die. So the guy just dies. Bah! Something comes out of my stomach. Oh no! Then like the whole species gets born.
Okay.
Because then that causes the people to like, oh yeah, we need a fighting force to kill these things.
Right.
We both know that the alien species is most likely going to kill us because our technology isn't advanced enough to kind of for bullets to penetrate their skin enough to where it kills them.
Right.
Because we don't know where their vital organs are.
How many of the Alien movies have you seen?
None of them.
You haven't seen any of them?
No, I haven't.
You gave all of that. You gave about
all of that
the-
information. I'm not informed whatsoever. Do I look like an idiot? Probably. Do I seem like a genius to myself? Yes, I do.
Hey, you tricked me into thinking you'd actually seen the movies.
Yeah,
That's so funny.
That's the lesson for you kids. Confidence can get you almost anywhere.
Speaking of timelines, if you had to pick the time placement for the next Predator movie, where would you have the Predator attack? Because I kind of think they should do this. I think they should move it back through various points in the timeline. Hey, this is when Predator... I know they say on the poster, this is where the hunt begins. Who cares? Do it at any point on the timeline. Who
Well,
cares?
if the hunt began in 1719, there's obviously a lot more key points to where they came in. Like, you can do one in the 1800s, you can do one in 1776, and you can have George Washington fighting a predator. Alright guys, it's time for another new segment. 2 new segments in a video?
A lot of
What?
experimentation today.
Yeah, we're just going for it at this point.
Yeah.
So, it's a segment where Joey and Will read a sequel to this movie. So, the year is...
1797.
So for those who don't know, George Washington, in our that they teach in history class, he died basically essentially of a cold. Will just confirm right here if I'm right or wrong, but I know this is like kind of what led to his death. He went outside. He was like outside to fix something real quick. Then he saw a bunch of other stuff to fix, and he just kept going around like his yard and stuff. And he died. So he died shortly after that event. And so he no longer, like, that's how his life ends. They don't really say it in Hamilton, but yeah.
However, we were going to tell you the true story now. So, as we said, the year is 1797. George Washington has just retired from being president. He's back at his home with Martha Washington out Mount Vernon. They're sitting on the porch. Martha Washington is sewing a flag or something. He's smoking his pipe, and he goes, "Martha, I think I need to do some work in the yard." And she's like, "Oh, okay, have fun." He wanders out. As he wanders out, he looks off into the forest and he hears a noise. He wonders what the noise is. He assumes it's some kind of insect or something. He continues down. He begins working on his fins. He hears the noise again, a little bit closer. Again, he wonders what's going on. And then he sees a shift in the light off in the distance. What he sees is an invisible predator coming to defeat what they view as America's / the world's at the moment greatest warrior. He defeated the British, and now he will have to defeat the predator. He's got his axe. He's chopping down trees. He is chopping up predators. They're battling, and it's just a solid hour and a half claustrophobic thriller of George Washington on his mansion battling a predator. And then obviously it's pouring cold rain the entire time. Eventually, he succumbs to his wounds and the illness. But Martha Washington says, we cannot let them know what's out there. He cannot let the world know. So they tell him that in the cold rain, he died of a disease. But we really know that was the Predator. Indeed. I think that's a good movie.
That would be a solid movie.
Yeah.
I would watch it. I would
Right.
watch it. What would we call it?
Predator Independence Day.
The Independent Predator.
The Independent Predator. I mean, if realistically I was going to put this movie out, I would call it Predator 1797.
Yeah, are we sure that's the year he died, though?
Ooh, there might be some. What's a Predator movie? We can just bounce it around. I just wanted.
That's
one
just
year
it's
after
just
he
that's
was
the
out.
general idea. So
Yeah.
you know, if someone in Hollywood sees this and be like, yeah, that'd be a good movie. Let's make it. You know, you have our contact information. We own the rights to it now. We can give you full credit for it. We just want a good enough amount of money to say that, oh yeah, this was our idea.
Honestly, I'd even take just get Kevin Feige to subscribe to our YouTube channel and make him watch every video.
Make it Kevin Feige watch every one of our YouTube videos. Alright guys, thank you for making it to the end of the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay posted with any new videos, and comment down any movies or TV shows you'd like us to do, or maybe any other various activities for our second videos for the week. We might do it. We might not do it. We might do it. We might not do it. Who knows? Bye! Ben Trachtenberg?
Does that play trap?
No.